shorter of an episode than the previous two. I don't know. I've always just thought back now to every time I watch an episode to that big juicy half hour of lore and world building from Volume 6. Still the best episode in the series. Anyway, as the characters all kind of come back, they've gotten their upgrades to their gear. They're all, getting ready just to show off new outfits and displays. It's just that time of, that time of the tone of the series. Characters all got these boosts, and you pretty much have an episode just showing that off. I mean, that's really this. This was pretty much just an exposition episode. To be perfectly honest, like they made the big Geist one sound like it was going to be intimidating and threatening. The big Geist Grim, and it was it's really old and smart. And it's eluded via hunters and huntresses for so long. I mean, they already dealt with one of those at the start of Volume 4. I mean, really, any of them they're like mass in. You're really gonna get a couple of them. They don't feel like boss characters. Probably not gonna be that threatening. I mean, it was kind of like that mid boss level where it was like, it's a little bit big, but it's not like a big sick ass grown dragon or that the weird skeletal guy on the back of a horse from was that Volume 4 or 5? I don't know. I'm trying to think back at that part. But either way, doesn't matter to this conversation. In this one, they pretty much go in. There's a bunch of like fodder grims, a bunch of centipedes, and they're discussing like it's in this old dust mine. There's a lot of innate dust. Obviously, that's like raw energy crystallized, so they got to be careful with it. And while they're fighting, while they're doing this whole thing, you get like this whole part during the fight of like all these characters. You got the Aesop guys and team main cast. I mean, at this point, pretty much, obviously RWBY's crew. What's weird is I've lost a lot of care for RWBY's crew, and I care more about Jaune's crew. It's very strange because like I think that like capped out at like Volume 3. I think that the way that they were handled in like Volume 4 and 5, and then I didn't really have much of a problem with the characters themselves in Volume 6 other than Episode 1. But like the way that their kind of characters, their individual characters have been steered, it's like I don't really care too much about what they're doing. I mean, like this part of it was, hey, what if we get a recap, on the Faunus and the Schnee family had, the rocky relations because of really bad like hard labor and the racism against the Faunus. Is it racism, speciesism? Either way, it's like I already know. I'm sure everyone that's made it to Volume 7 is aware of that. I much rather see the parts where Jaune is they're getting all their new outfits and their upgraded gear, and Jaune has part of Pyrrha's her sash, and you just see that reflective moment where no matter what he's gotta he's gonna get reminded of this. This is an aspect of his character and something he failed in that's like heavy weight on his shoulders that it just, he's not going to escape from. And here, even in the moment of like, oh yeah, we're getting all this shiny new stuff, he's getting a reminder of that. I want to say though, in regards, just not from design standpoint, because when you get like, okay, there's either characters go to a different zone or maybe like a time skip or something, they get new outfits and new clothes and stuff. I'm wondering why they got different hairstyles going into this. That was kind of the confusing point to me, because like with why she has this kind of like big braided like almost winter like look, cold, and design wise it's like, oh yeah, because white, and obviously, she's got a cold personality a lot of the time. But I'm wondering why they're going to this, like, place where it's like, man, it's really cold here, it's freezing. If you don't have, technology or an aura protecting you, you could die in a couple hours from the cold. And I'm wondering why you would cut your hair for that. Like, wouldn't you want more hair? You would want max warmth going into this place? Obviously, they got, like, stuff to protect them, but why would you want to go in like that? With such a, like, low-key, like, this trimming something that would help you like that. And not only from that aspect, but like the mindset. It's like, hey, we're going on this mission, get ready. And it's like, hang on. We gotta change our hairstyles. Again, the clothes, outfits make sense. the hair, you'd have to go through the entire process of, instead of just putting on clothes, you're getting a haircut, you're fashioning it and doing all this stuff. I mean, that part was just a little confusing to me, just from the logic behind it. It doesn't really matter from the standpoint of, like, you're watching a series and it's like, oh, cool, character design changes. I'm just like looking at it from, like, if this was like, oh yeah, we're leaving in 2 days. I don't think there was any noted time period. I think they just kind of, they got their stuff, and then the next thing you see is they're on a plane. But just like the idea behind that is very strange to me. But yeah, they end up going there, and I like the interactions between Jaune's crew. Like, you have Nora trying, pawing after Ren's affection, Ren not really getting it, and being much more set on the mission. Jaune being both oblivious and silly, like when he goes up to tell Nora he likes her outfit too, and she, he doesn't get the hint of what she's doing. But you're getting that fun aspect of Jaune while seeing the seriousness of just those moments, those couple seconds where he's looking at Pyrrha's sash. And I really like that. I thought that was really good. And the way that their characters are being handled, I think it's just a lot more interesting than recapping stuff like, oh, hey, remember the Schnee and the Faunus? Like, you guys shouldn't have to bring that up every time you get in a conversation relating to them. And it's like, I'm sure God, you guys have been friends for years. You should be fine. Regardless of such, they're fighting a bunch of, fodder Grimm, just a bunch of little centipedes. You're going to get a lot of exposition of, like, the Aesops. Like, hey, look at our weapons and stuff. Look at what our abilities are. You're getting all the displays of some of the new weapons from the RWBY team. I'm wondering what the point is of Yang's, like, little timed bombs. Because shouldn't she be... they didn't look more powerful than her normal, like, shotgun punches. So I'm wondering why she would even need those. I mean, from, like, an idea of ranged, of like, oh yeah, shoot it, and you set up a trap or something. You play it more tactical. You're shooting one of these little time bombs in order to work it into some strategy. Whereas it's like, well, what is it? Does it somehow make her faster punch? Because they looked a little faster punching. I don't know. I don't know why her bullets in the chamber would really do that. I mean, that's something that RWBY's shown very rarely, even though that was emphasized in the original trailer. Anyway, but the question after that is just, where's the emphasis on that? What would really be the point of these tiny little bombs? I mean, legitimately, some of the characters were one-shotting all those centipedes. I was like, why would the character who's very heavily like set on powerful strikes be like, what if I did this like by shooting a bunch of these tiny little ones instead of just one punching these out? I don't know, not very important. And then the interactions between Crow and that Aesop guy, I thought that was kind of lame. Not gonna lie. I mean, the idea that he's got the semblance of good fortune and to counter Crow's misfortune. And I'm like, what are they really gonna do at that point? Like, what's the kind of like synergy are they gonna do? I worry. I'm not gonna lie. I always worry when like watching later seasons because I know how toxic the RWBY fandom is at large, and they're very, very heavily like obsessed with ships. And I just have this. Nothing of it has happened yet to really confirm, but I still have my suspicions that the writing staff is influenced by the shippers, and like they're just gonna make Crow like a gay dude. And it would probably be something they do, not just out of just that, but I know that they're the way that they treated like Vic Mignogna, and it would probably give a little spite towards them because even though it's so confusing when that whole part, because they said he's a homophobe, but there's evidence showing that's a lie. Anyway, I don't want to off track on that because that's not related to this. I'm always worried about shipping influencing the story with this series. It's like, well, I don't really care about force ships. I mean, stuff that feels organic. Ren and Nora feels nice and organic. Pyrrha and Jaune felt really organic. And if they end up just being like, hey, these characters are all gay now, it's like, whatever, just do your thing. Write your show. I can't tell you what to do. But they had like this fight with the big Geistgrim, and there are two things about it that I wanted to point out. One, they fought one of these in the start of volume 4, and it was very quick and easy, so I'm wondering how this one apparently was so much like bigger of a deal when you had more than twice as many people, and nothing that it did made it seem like it was a bigger deal. And two, where they're like, oh, we can't really do anything about we get the dust amounts in like, can't let him fall and, impact and possibly explode and whatnot. But it puts the dust on its body, on its little constructed body, and they're fighting it. So shouldn't their attacks blow up the dust? Like, it falling to the ground, just like falling from like 20 feet, is gonna, cause an explosion, cause it to react. Wouldn't hitting it with all these weapons do that? I don't know. I mean, that part, it was made out, especially because like this whole like little operation into this cave felt like it was important. And like, well, I don't want to say it's not important. It felt like it was gonna be like a big overwhelming, I think is a better way to describe it, mission. But they did it fairly easy. I don't think any of them got hurt. I don't think any character suffered any form of injury. It didn't look like any of the characters really had to put more than like a casual amount of effort. I don't know. Seemed pretty quick. But like I said, it was primarily just like a show-off episode. It was entirely just a show-off. Hey, look, weapon upgrades. Hey, look, these are what these characters do. And I think what's funny is I knew that I wasn't just thinking that because I'm like, oh man, I've been a little bit, back and forth with my opinions on RWBY the last couple volumes since like, I don't know, I think it's since been like volume 4, partly through volume 5, I'd say. But like throughout the episode, I'm watching it. There's some parts I enjoy. I didn't have like, oh, this is a pain to watch, but I wasn't really that excited. But I was very happy in the last moment, when I saw, that one dude, what's his name, Forrest or whatever, the little protester guy, and he's just walking around and he ends up coming across Tyrion, and I knew that it wasn't me just saying stuff, because the second I saw Tyrion, I got really excited. You get that excited vibe, the energy run through your body. I'm like, yes, one of my favorite characters. Let's do this. What's he gonna do? And Tyrion, brings up his tail, and he goes to strike him, and I saw some people saying like, oh, Tyrion killed this guy. What was the point of that? Because that was my initial thought. It'd be like, what would be the point of Tyrion killing this guy? There'd be nothing from the point of him doing it in general, but from a story point, there would be no value of it. The character wasn't liked. He was in like a 2-minute scene where he was just some annoying protester. But I don't think it was it's like a killing venom that's in his tail. I think it's gonna mutate him, maybe turn him into some weird like artificial Grim through through that tail venom sting, and cause some crazy chaos. Because when I thought about Watts and Tyrion, Watts is a threat in this scenario because he can clearly affect the technology of Atlas, and he's obviously can affect a lot of their systems. Like, what's Tyrion's whole point in this going to be? What is Tyrion going to really, bring to the table? If this is his thing, making all these, like, mutated or, like, poison-plagued people, then there you go. That's going to be his thing, just to cause this blight upon the city. But anyway, comment below. Like I said, the episode, there were parts I really liked. Obviously, the Tyrion part. All the stuff with Jaune. Like, Jaune's hairstyle, I don't know. I'm curious, again, why would he cut his hair going into this whole thing? Maybe he just felt like it with the new outfit. Either way. Jaune is definitely my favorite out of the main cast now. I mean, like, you put out all the regulars, you get the RWBY team, and then, Jaune, Nora, and Ren. Jaune is easily the best character out of them. Like, it's not even close. It's not even remotely close at this point. He's got the most interesting story. He's got the more interesting build. He doesn't seem like he's just constantly like, oh yeah, let's one-shot all these needless fodder. Like, you can see all that like steady progress of his character, all the development. And I think that like adds on a lot as well, just from the story writing aspect of him and the way that you see his emotions conveyed, and reminiscent over past events and how they carry on with them. Easily the best character in the series is Jaune, I would say. It's between, like, for favorites, like him and Crow, like, in terms of which ones I think are more interesting to watch. But you're just going, like, writing-wise, Jaune, like, completely demolishes, like, every other character in the series around. The only other character I'd really kind of put close is Salem after, her really cool backstory. But hers is all dumped in mostly one episode. Well, you've been at station seeing Jaune's tale develop throughout it. In a lot of ways, it's weird because it feels like Jaune's story in some aspects, even though he's not in the main crew and he's not even the main character. Sometimes it feels like he's the main character to me. I don't know. I'm so much more intrigued in the progression of him versus the progression of like anybody in the actual cast that are named for the the letters of the RWBY series. Either way, comment below. Tell me you thought about the episode. Tell me you thought about what's going on. Which design do you like the most? I do like Weiss's big weird like braided. I always think Viking like hair, just some like chick Viking with that heavy braids. But other than that, comment below. Thumbs up deeper from the like button, subscribe button, and check out my other videos. But that, I appreciate everyone who's already subscribed. And thank you all for listening. Bye.